Hey guys, welcome to this stream. I'm watching Diary of a CEO and he is talking to Jasprit Singh, and we joined the stream at about 26 minutes in, and they're talking about whether renting is throwing money away. Let's watch. And before we continue, this is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment.
They're currently renting and they see that as just giving money away. So they think, listen, I could spend this money on a mortgage and I'll own this thing one day, or I could spend this same $2,000, whatever it is, on rent, and I'm never going to own this thing.
Well, I'm here in Los Angeles right now. I had to stay in a hotel. That hotel payment is paying somebody's mortgage. It's paying somebody's college tuition. It's paying for somebody's stuff. When I go to a restaurant and I eat out, I'm paying for somebody's mortgage. I'm paying for somebody's college tuition. I'm paying for somebody's bills. Because when you go out and you rent, that's what everybody says. I am making my landlord rich. Well, when you eat at a restaurant, you're making...
Well, it is true, because for somebody to get a buy-to-let mortgage, typically in the UK, the bank expects you to be able to rent out that property for at least 25% more than the mortgage. So if the mortgage is £100 a month, the bank expects you to rent out that property for at least £125 a month. So you are effectively paying someone's mortgage off with renting. Now, going out and consuming things and in restaurants, yes, he makes a point, but he's really oversimplifying what really happens when you rent versus when you own. When you own, typically, you pay down the principal amount, which reduces the amount of interest that you pay on your mortgage. The more you do this over time, the less your payments will be compared to somebody who will be renting. And rents typically go up with inflation. So over time, you'll be paying more in rent than when you started, and you still don't own the property that you live in.
Making that restaurant owner rich. When you go to a hotel, you're making the hotel owner rich. When I go and buy a mug, I'm making the mug owner rich. And the reality is, yeah, it's good for you to own a house. But are you ready to own a house? Can you afford to own a house? And
there you go. Okay. So he kind of went around in circles to get to the point of actually saying, yes, it is better for you to own a house. It's just better. Mathematically, it's better. You can look at so many calculators out there that compare renting and investing versus just buying and paying down the mortgage. Now, you might be able to invest way more and get a bigger return than on buying a house. But something that people that are investing early on don't often consider is the volatility of your investments, because they can go up as well as go down. And sometimes the gains that you gain over a period of time can be wiped out by one period where you are down on your investments.
And what do you want to own first? I rent where I live right now. I am making my landlord rich today. I also rent where my office is. I am making my office landlord very rich because my office rent is very expensive. Do you feel bad for me? I hope not. And this is where we have to get over these money myths that many people keep selling you, that you can't build wealth if you rent where you live. You can't build wealth if you don't get a good degree. That's not the way that the system works.
He clearly owns a business that allows him to rent where he lives and where he works. The way taxes work in the US, it's slightly different to the UK, but some things are similar. So if you're an entrepreneur like him, I think he is, yeah, of course, it makes sense. You can deduct the expenses of the revenue that your business makes so that you pay less tax. That makes sense. But for regular people, just workers, regular workers, in my opinion, not financial advice, not investment advice, it is always cheaper to own the property, and it's always easier to build equity in the property because you are effectively saving money back into the house, but you get to live there so that when you retire and you want to downsize, you can sell the house and then you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. At least you know you have that asset and you own it.
See, there's the traditional rules, and then there's the real financial education money rules. And again, I'm not saying it's bad to own a house, but it's bad to own a house you can't afford.
How do you know if you can afford one?
Well, there's three parts to affording a house. You have to afford the down payment, you have to afford the monthly payment,
Yep.
and you have to afford the moving costs. I'm going to go start.
You only move once. If you're buying your first home, unless you are buying and selling, that's not really a big deal. Typically, I spent about £1,000 moving. That was it. But obviously I had to buy furniture, and you buy furniture once. So maybe if I could lowball and say that I probably spent about, I don't know, 10,000 in total. That's a one-off cost.
Start from the simplest one, which is the moving costs, because many people don't factor this in. When you buy a house, you got to move in. And I'm not talking about the closing costs. You might have to hire movers, which are expensive. You might have to upgrade your furniture, which is expensive. You might have to upgrade the house.
You don't have to buy new furniture. You can buy secondhand furniture. When I first started, I bought all secondhand furniture, and I think I spent about £2,000 in total. So when I moved into a bigger house, then I spent whatever cash I had, but I was comfortable to spend. And I renovated the house as well, which is what he's talking about next. And again, you don't have to renovate your house. I know somebody who bought a house that needs work, and they never renovated it. They just lived in it, and they slowly renovated it over time. So you don't have to do all these things in one go.
Which is expensive. Factor that in. Then I want to talk about your down payment. People don't like when I say this, but I don't say what I say to make friends. I say what I say to help people be better with money. If you want to afford the house, you have to have at least a 20% down payment. That way you
Fair
actually
enough.
have some equity, some skin in the game. That way you can actually afford the house. The third part is you have to afford the monthly payments. Now, every bank is going to have a different rule for you. Banks have like the 28% rule and these other rules.
Sorry, just on that last point, why do people not like it when you say that?
Because it's very hard to pay a 20% down payment. Housing is expensive.
It is very difficult if you're buying an expensive property. If you are buying a property that's worth £400,000 and you have to put down 20% down, that's 80 grand. So clearly, not many people have £80,000 lying around. So it makes sense that if you are going to put down a bigger deposit, you buy the cheapest house that you can afford, as well as the payments that you can actually afford. And I have to agree with him on this one. I know what typically happens with some people when they start to consider to buy a house. Maybe you're young right now and you can't afford to buy a house and you can't ever imagine yourself buying a house. But trust me, you will be able to buy a house one day. You will absolutely be able to buy a house, and I will try and help you achieve that goal. But what people don't often consider is the payments that you pay today could go up if interest rates go up. So the bank will always give you as much as possible because they just want to make as much money as possible. You might be offered a mortgage that goes up to £700 a month, and you can afford that today. But I always ask people, what happens if your mortgage rate goes up and your payments go up by, let's say, £300? Now you're paying £1,000 a month. So it's better for you today to get a mortgage that costs £400 a month, so that in future, if your payments go up, you can afford £700 a month because that was what you could always afford comfortably. Anyway, what do you guys think? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Really means a lot. Leave some comments below. Tell me your thoughts. Are you renting? Are you going to buy? Do you want to buy? Let me know where you are. Good luck.